Something which is important to understand about PHP is that it has no memory of what has happened before. So if you make a request to a web page as a user and make a subsequent web request to that page, it's starting with a blank slate. It has no memory of who you are. So how do web pages or how do websites remember who we are? How do they remember which details or which items we put in a basket? They use something called sessions, and that's what we're going to have a look at in this one. And so sessions, they're like a memory store which resides on the server. So you put some information into the session, it gets stored there, and then when you go and make another request, even to a different page on the site, it can still retrieve that information from the session. And the way that we're going to prove this is by making a request to two different pages. We'll make a request to one page, and when we do that, we'll store some information in the session, and then when we make a request to another page, we'll retrieve that information from the session. So here what we'll do is we'll create a new folder. This will be number 12. We're going to call this sessions, and the first one that we're going to do will be we'll make a request to a page called set. So set.php. What you need to do if you wish to use sessions in PHP, if you want to store data in a session or retrieve it, is first call this session start function. And so what this will do, it will initialize an empty session superglobal array, and in that we can store values and we can retrieve values. So looks similar to post and get in that it's the $_ followed by session. And so here, to store something in the session, it's like adding an item to an array. So what we're going to do is we're going to say name equals, and we'll just go with John Doe. And then let's just echo a message to say that something has been stored in the session. So we're going to say session value has been set, and we'll put a line break on the end of there. Okay, so that is setting a value in the session. What we're going to do then after hitting this page, set.php, is we're going to then hit another page called get.php, and there we're going to retrieve a value from the session. So new PHP file, again this will be get.php, and again, even though we're not storing something in the session, we're retrieving something from the session. It's a bit of a quirk, but we still need to call session start. So you might be thinking, well, at this point we'll already have started a session because we've put something in there, but it's important that you use this anywhere where you wish to use the session, whether adding to the session or retrieving from the session. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we'll check if that value is actually set on the session array. Is name set on the session? And if so, we'll simply echo that out. If not, we'll echo out that no session value was found. Okay, so I've kept this nice and simple here. Normally with sessions, you'll build something like a login system, and that's exactly what we do in the book. But this is just to get the idea into your head of how sessions work and how we can add items to the session, how we can retrieve them. So first of all, now let's just go and cd into number 12. And here we shall start the server. Okay, so the first place that I want to go to is set.php. And this will tell me that a session value has been set. And so next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to get.php, and it should echo out that session value, that name which we set. Okay, and indeed it does do that. Okay, so hopefully you've got a good idea there of how session works. Like I say, in the book we go into it in quite a lot more detail, and the session does end up becoming quite central to a login and registration system which we build.